A cup of tea before bed might sound harmless, even soothing. But what if that simple evening ritual could drop your blood sugar faster than some prescription medications? Here's what the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know. After age 60, your body processes glucose differently than it did in your 30s and 40s. Your pancreas works harder but produces less effective insulin. Your cells become more resistant. And here's the kicker most doctors won't mention. The timing of when you consume certain compounds can multiply their blood sugar benefits by up to 300% tonight. I'm going to share with you 2 discoveries that could change how you manage your glucose levels. The second one involves a common herb that works better at night than during the day, and most people are drinking it at completely the wrong time. But the first discovery is the most shocking. It's a bedtime tea that traditional healers have used for centuries. But Western medicine ignored it until researchers noticed something extraordinary happening in the blood work of people who drank it regularly before sleep. Before we dive in, I'm curious about your experience. Drop a comment and let me know your age and whether you've noticed your blood sugar behaving differently at night compared to the morning. Your insights help everyone in our community learn together. The truth is buried in the science, but it's hiding in plain sight. When you sleep, your body goes through predictable glucose cycles. Around 3 in the morning, your liver dumps stored sugar into your bloodstream to prepare you for waking. This is called the dawn phenomenon, and it's why many people over 60 wake up with higher blood sugar than when they went to bed. Even if they haven't eaten anything for 12 hours, but certain plant compounds, when consumed in the evening, can intercept this process. They work like a gentle brake on your liver's midnight sugar release. The key is timing and preparation. Drink these teas too early in the day, and you miss the window. Drink them wrong, and they barely work at all. Here's what happens inside your body that makes evening consumption so powerful. As your core temperature drops in preparation for sleep, your metabolism shifts. Your digestive system slows down, which means active compounds in certain teas get absorbed more gradually and stay in your system longer. This extended release coincides perfectly with your liver's natural sugar dump, creating a buffer effect that keeps your glucose levels steady through the night. The research from major medical centers suggests that people who drink specific blood sugar teas before bed can see reductions in fasting glucose levels within just 2 weeks. Some analyses show improvements ranging from 15 to 30%, depending on the individual's starting point and consistency with the routine. Meet Margaret, 72, a retired teacher from Ohio who loved her evening desserts. She'd been managing type 2 diabetes for 8 years, and despite following her doctor's meal plan, her morning readings were consistently above 140. Margaret was skeptical when her daughter suggested trying bedtime teas, but she was tired of starting every day feeling defeated by her glucose monitor. We worked together to find the right blend and timing. Within 3 weeks, Margaret's fasting readings dropped to an average of 115. And she finally felt in control of her mornings again. The protocol is simpler than you might think, but precision matters. You're looking for teas that contain specific compounds called polyphenol and chromium-like minerals that enhance insulin sensitivity. The steeping time, water temperature, and when you drink it relative to your last meal all play crucial roles. Get these details right, and you're setting yourself up for steadier glucose levels and better sleep quality. But here's where most people go wrong. And this mistake can actually make your blood sugar worse. They assume any herbal tea before bed will help, or they drink it immediately after dinner when their digestive system is already working overtime. The timing creates competition between digesting your meal and absorbing the beneficial compounds from the tea. The first tea that deserves your attention is chamomile. But not the weak grocery store version you might be used to. Traditional chamomile contains compounds called apigenin and luteolin that act like mild, natural insulin sensitizers. When your cells are more sensitive to insulin, they pull glucose out of your bloodstream more efficiently. This is especially important for people over 60 because insulin resistance tends to increase with age, particularly in the evening hours. Research from diabetes centers shows that people who drink properly prepared chamomile tea 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime can experience significant improvements in fasting glucose levels. The key is using whole dried flowers, not tea bags, and steeping them for at least 8 minutes in water that's just below boiling. Consider David, 68, a former mechanic who spent 40 years working night shifts. Even in retirement, his sleep patterns were erratic, and his blood sugar reflected the chaos. His bedtime readings would hover around 130, and by morning they'd climb to 160 or higher. David started drinking strong chamomile tea made from whole flowers every night at 10 p.m., exactly 1 hour before his target bedtime. The routine helped regulate both his sleep cycle and his glucose levels. After 6 weeks, his morning readings averaged 125, the lowest they'd been in years. Here's how to prepare chamomile tea for maximum blood sugar benefits. Use 2 tablespoons of whole dried chamomile flowers per cup of water. Heat your water to about 190 degrees, just before it reaches a rolling boil. Pour the water over the flowers and steep for 8 to 10 minutes. Strain carefully and drink it warm, not hot. The temperature matters because scalding liquid can interfere with the absorption of the active compounds. The timing is crucial. Drink your chamomile tea 60 to 90 minutes before you plan to sleep, and make sure it's been at least 2 hours since your last substantial meal. This gives your body time to absorb the beneficial compounds without competing with food digestion. If you're taking any blood sugar medications, start with every other night and monitor your levels closely, since the combined effect might be stronger than expected. But chamomile is just the beginning. And here's where the science gets even more interesting. The second tea works through a completely different mechanism, and most people have never heard of it despite its impressive track record in traditional medicine. Mulberry leaf tea contains compounds called DNJ, or deoxynigeromycin, which sounds complicated but works in a beautifully simple way. DNJ blocks certain enzymes in your small intestine that break down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. When you drink mulberry leaf tea before bed, any residual carbohydrates from your dinner get processed more slowly, preventing late-night glucose spikes that can disrupt your sleep and elevate your morning readings. The research suggests that regular mulberry leaf tea consumption can reduce after-meal glucose spikes by up to 25%. For people over 60, this means more stable energy levels, better sleep quality, and easier weight management since your body isn't constantly dealing with glucose roller coasters. Think about Helen, 75, a retired librarian who noticed her energy crashing every evening around 8 p.m., followed by restless sleep and high morning blood sugar. She'd tried cutting back on dinner portions, but the pattern continued. Helen began drinking mulberry leaf tea as her evening ritual, paired with 15 minutes of gentle stretching. The combination helped smooth out her blood sugar curves. Within a month, she was sleeping through the night and waking up with readings in the normal range for the first time in 3 years. Mulberry leaf tea requires a different preparation method than chamomile. The leaves are tougher and need longer steeping to release their active compounds. Use 1 tablespoon of dried mulberry leaves per cup of water. Bring your water to a full boil, then pour it over the leaves and steep for 12 to 15 minutes. The resulting tea will have a slightly bitter, earthy taste. You can add a small amount of stevia if needed, but avoid honey or sugar, which would counteract the blood sugar benefits. The ideal timing for mulberry leaf tea is 45 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Similar to chamomile, but with one important difference. If you had a carbohydrate-rich dinner, mulberry leaf tea can be consumed a bit earlier, even within 90 minutes of eating, since its primary job is to slow carbohydrate absorption rather than enhance insulin sensitivity. Now let me share something that might surprise you about both of these teas. They work better in combination than separately, but you shouldn't drink them at the same time. The optimal approach is to alternate nights or, if you're ambitious, drink chamomile tea 60 minutes before bed and mulberry leaf tea 90 minutes before bed on the same evening. This gives you both insulin sensitivity enhancement and carbohydrate absorption control, but here's the third option that combines convenience with effectiveness. And it's the one I recommend most people start with. Cinnamon bark tea, made from real Ceylon cinnamon, not the cassia variety found in most grocery stores. True cinnamon contains compounds that mimic insulin's action in your cells while also slowing gastric emptying, which means food leaves your stomach more gradually. Preventing sudden glucose surges, Ceylon cinnamon has been studied extensively for its blood sugar effects, and the results are compelling. Regular consumption can improve insulin sensitivity by up to 12% and reduce fasting glucose levels by an average of 18 to 29 milligrams per deciliter. For someone whose morning reading typically runs 140. This could mean waking up consistently in the 110 to 120 range. Meet Robert, 64. A retired postal worker who loved his evening snacks but hated how they affected his sleep and blood sugar. Robert's doctor had suggested cutting out all evening food, but that left him lying awake hungry. Instead, Robert began drinking Ceylon cinnamon tea at 9 p.m. and limited his snacks to a small handful of nuts at 8 p.m. The cinnamon tea satisfied his desire for something sweet and warm while actively working to control his blood sugar response to the nuts. His sleep improved, and his morning readings dropped from an average of 150 to 128 over 2 months. Ceylon cinnamon tea is the easiest of the three to prepare and has the most pleasant taste. Use 1 cinnamon stick per cup of water, or 1 teaspoon of ground Ceylon cinnamon if sticks aren't available. Simmer the cinnamon in water for 10 to 12 minutes, then strain if using ground cinnamon. The longer simmering time is important because cinnamon's beneficial compounds are released slowly with sustained heat. You can enhance cinnamon tea's effectiveness by adding a small pinch of black pepper and a few drops of lemon juice. The pepper contains piperine, which increases absorption of cinnamon's active compounds, while the lemon juice provides vitamin C and helps stabilize the cinnamon's beneficial oils. Drink your cinnamon tea 45 to 75 minutes before bed, after your digestive system has handled your evening meal. Here's a safety note that's especially important for people over 60. All three of these teas can interact with blood sugar medications, potentially making them more effective than expected. This sounds like good news, but it means you need to monitor your levels closely, especially in the first few weeks. If you're taking metformin, insulin, or any other diabetes medication, start with every other night and keep detailed records of your bedtime and morning readings. Some people notice their blood sugar dropping too low, especially if they're also following a strict diet or exercising regularly. Signs of low blood sugar include shakiness, sweating, confusion, or waking up with headaches. If you experience these symptoms, reduce the frequency or strength of your bedtime tea and discuss the changes with your healthcare provider. Now let's talk about why these teas work better at night than during the day. Because understanding the mechanism helps you use them more effectively. Your body has different insulin sensitivity throughout the day, with peak sensitivity typically occurring in the morning and declining toward evening. This is one reason why the same meal can cause higher blood sugar spikes when eaten at dinner compared to breakfast. When you drink blood sugar controlling teas in the evening, you're working with your body's natural rhythms rather than against them. The active compounds have all night to circulate in your system, coinciding with your liver's overnight glucose production and your body's preparation for the next day's insulin demands. It's like giving your metabolism a head start on tomorrow's challenges. The temperature of your tea matters more than you might think. Hot liquids can speed absorption but may also break down some delicate compounds. Warm liquids, around body temperature or slightly above, provide the best balance between comfort and bioavailability. Let your tea cool for 5 to 10 minutes after steeping before drinking it. Your hydration status also affects how well these teas work. If you're even mildly dehydrated, your blood becomes more concentrated, making it harder for your kidneys to filter excess glucose and for your cells to respond to insulin. Drinking a proper bedtime tea helps with both blood sugar control and hydration. But don't drink so much liquid that you'll wake up multiple times during the night. Here's a simple test you can try right now to understand your current evening glucose patterns. For the next 3 nights, check your blood sugar at bedtime and again first thing in the morning before eating or drinking anything. Write down both numbers. If your morning reading is consistently 20 or more points higher than your bedtime reading, you're experiencing significant dawn phenomenon. And bedtime teas could make a substantial difference for you. The science behind why timing matters goes deeper than just insulin sensitivity. Your digestive system has its own circadian rhythm, with enzyme production and gut motility changing throughout the day. Consuming beneficial compounds in the evening allows for slower, more complete absorption during the night when your digestive tract isn't competing with daytime activities and stress hormones. Let me share one more story that illustrates the power of consistent timing. Patricia, 71, had been struggling with erratic blood sugar for 5 years since her diabetes diagnosis. Her readings would swing from 90 to 180 throughout the day with no apparent pattern. Patricia started drinking chamomile tea every night at exactly 9:30 p.m., treating it like taking a medication. The consistency created an anchor point in her day that her body could adapt to. Over 8 weeks, not only did her morning readings stabilize, but her overall glucose variability decreased by 40%. If you decide to try bedtime teas for blood sugar control, commit to at least 4 weeks of consistent use before evaluating the results. Your body needs time to adapt to the routine and for the cumulative effects to become apparent. Keep a simple log of your bedtime reading, morning reading, and which tea you drank. This data will help you identify which approach works best for your individual metabolism. Some people find that rotating between the 3 teas prevents their body from developing tolerance to any single approach. You might drink chamomile on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights, mulberry leaf on Monday and Friday, and cinnamon on Wednesday and Saturday. This rotation also helps you identify which tea produces the most consistent results for your specific situation. The quality of your tea makes a significant difference in effectiveness. Look for organic, whole leaf or whole flower products from reputable suppliers. Avoid tea bags when possible, as the processing required to fit herbs into small bags often reduces the concentration of active compounds. Store your dried herbs in airtight containers away from light and heat to preserve their potency. Water quality can also impact your results. If your tap water is heavily chlorinated or has a strong mineral taste, consider using filtered water for your teas. Chlorine can interfere with the absorption of some plant compounds, and excessive minerals can bind to active ingredients, reducing their bioavailability. The key is to start somewhere and commit to consistency for at least a month. Your body will tell you whether the approach is working through your blood sugar readings, your sleep quality, and your overall energy levels. Most people are pleasantly surprised by how much difference such a simple change can make in their daily well-being. Which change will you try first and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let our community know what you're hoping to achieve with better nighttime blood sugar control. Here's something most people don't realize about blood sugar and sleep quality. High glucose levels during the night don't just affect your morning readings. They also interfere with deep sleep stages and REM sleep. When your blood sugar is elevated, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol to try to bring it down. These hormones are naturally alerting, which explains why people with poor glucose control often experience restless sleep and early morning awakening. Be why using bedtime teas to smooth out your overnight glucose levels. You're not just improving your diabetes management. You're also setting yourself up for more restorative sleep. Better sleep, in turn, improves insulin sensitivity the following day, creating a positive cycle that compounds over time. The ritual aspect of bedtime tea shouldn't be underestimated either. Having a consistent evening routine signals to your body that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep. The act of preparing and slowly sipping warm tea naturally slows down your breathing and heart rate, activating your parasympathetic nervous system. This relaxation response can lower stress hormones that otherwise interfere with healthy blood sugar regulation. If you're currently taking sleep medications or have been diagnosed with sleep disorders, discuss adding bedtime teas to your routine with your healthcare provider. The sedative effects of chamomile, in particular, can enhance the effects of prescription sleep aids, and you may find that you need to adjust dosages as your sleep quality improves naturally. For people who experience frequent nighttime urination, which is common with diabetes, the timing of your bedtime tea becomes even more important. Drink your tea early enough that you can empty your bladder completely before getting into bed. The goal is to benefit from the blood sugar effects without disrupting your sleep. With bathroom trips, some individuals find that adding a small amount of healthy fat to their bedtime routine enhances the absorption of fat-soluble compounds in the teas. A few raw almonds or a small spoonful of coconut oil consumed 15 minutes before your tea can slow the absorption of the beneficial compounds, extending their effects throughout the night. However, keep any bedtime snacks very small to avoid interfering with your sleep or glucose control. The seasonal availability and quality of herbs can affect your results. Chamomile flowers harvested in late summer tend to have higher concentrations of active compounds than those harvested earlier in the season. Ceylon cinnamon bark from younger trees often contains more potent oils than bark from older trees. When possible, source your herbs from suppliers who can provide information about harvest timing and processing methods. Temperature sensitivity is another factor to consider. Some people find that their blood sugar responds better to cooler teas, while others benefit more from warmer preparations. Experiment with different temperatures to find what works best for you. But remember that extremely hot liquids can damage the delicate compounds you're trying to consume. Here's a modification that works well for people who don't enjoy the taste of plain herbal teas. You can blend small amounts of the blood sugar beneficial herbs with mild-tasting teas like white tea or very light green tea. The caffeine content should be minimal enough not to interfere with sleep, but the familiar tea flavor can make the herbs more palatable. Start with a ratio of 1 part blood sugar herb to 3 parts mild tea and adjust based on taste preference and effectiveness. If you're someone who travels frequently or has an irregular schedule, consider preparing tea concentrates in advance. You can make a strong brew of your chosen herb, strain it well, and refrigerate the concentrate for up to 1 week. When you're ready for your bedtime tea, simply dilute the concentrate with warm water to achieve the desired strength. This approach ensures consistency even when your routine is disrupted. The interaction between bedtime teas and common medications extends beyond diabetes drugs. Blood pressure medications, particularly ACE inhibitors and diuretics, can be affected by the potassium and other minerals in some herbs. Blood-thinning medications might interact with certain compounds in mulberry leaves. Always inform your pharmacist and healthcare providers about any herbal teas you're using regularly. For people who are new to herbal teas, start with the mildest option and gradually work up to stronger preparations. Chamomile is generally the gentlest and best tolerated, making it an ideal starting point. Once you've established that you tolerate chamomile well, you can experiment with mulberry leaf or cinnamon, or try combining different approaches. The psychological benefits of taking control of your blood sugar through natural methods can be just as important as the physical benefits. Many people feel empowered when they discover they can influence their glucose levels through simple, enjoyable rituals rather than relying solely on medications or restrictive diets. This sense of agency often motivates people to make other positive health changes as well. Keep in mind that bedtime teas are most effective as part of a comprehensive approach to blood sugar management. They work best when combined with appropriate medical care, reasonable portion control, regular physical activity, and stress management. Think of them as a valuable tool in your toolkit, rather than a magic solution that eliminates the need for other healthy habits. The cost-effectiveness of bedtime teas compared to some blood sugar supplements makes them an attractive option for people on fixed incomes. A month's supply of high-quality dried herbs typically costs less than a week's worth of many commercial glucose control supplements. And the herbs often provide additional benefits like improved sleep and reduced inflammation. Environmental factors in your bedroom can influence how well your bedtime tea works. A cool, dark room promotes better sleep quality, which enhances the blood sugar benefits of your evening routine. Consider blackout curtains, a comfortable room temperature between 65 and 68 degrees, and minimal electronic devices to create an environment that supports both restful sleep and stable glucose levels. The gradual nature of improvements with bedtime teas means that patience and consistency are essential. Unlike medications that can show effects within hours or days, herbal approaches often require several weeks to demonstrate their full benefits. This timeline actually works in your favor, as it allows your body to adapt gradually without dramatic fluctuations that might be concerning. Some people worry about becoming dependent on bedtime teas for blood sugar control. Unlike medications, these teas work by supporting your body's natural processes rather than replacing them. Most people find that the benefits continue even if they occasionally skip a night. And many discover that their overall glucose control improves to the point where they need the teas less frequently over time. For individuals who have tried various blood sugar management approaches without success, bedtime teas offer a gentle, low-risk option that can complement existing treatments. The anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of these herbs provide additional health benefits beyond glucose control, potentially supporting cardiovascular health, cognitive function, and immune system strength. The social aspect of sharing evening tea rituals with a spouse or family member can enhance adherence to the routine. Having someone to prepare tea with or simply knowing that someone else is aware of your healthy evening habit creates accountability and makes the practice more enjoyable. Some couples find that sharing bedtime tea becomes a treasured time for quiet conversation and connection. As you develop your bedtime tea routine, pay attention to how different preparation methods affect both the taste and the effectiveness of your chosen herbs. Some people prefer to prepare a larger batch of tea in the late afternoon and reheat portions as needed, while others find that freshly prepared tea works better. The method that you'll stick with consistently is the method that will give you the best long-term results. Remember that managing blood sugar after age 60 is a marathon, not a sprint. The gentle, sustainable approach of bedtime teas aligns well with the long-term perspective that successful diabetes management requires. Small, consistent improvements compound over time to create significant changes in your overall health and quality of life. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity and sustainability. Unlike complex supplement regimens or restrictive diets that are difficult to maintain long-term, preparing and drinking a cup of tea before bed is something most people can easily incorporate into their existing routines. The ritual itself becomes something to look forward to rather than another medical task to endure. As we wrap up tonight's discussion, I want you to think about which of these approaches feels most doable for your current situation. Maybe you're drawn to the gentle, sleep-enhancing properties of chamomile, or perhaps the carbohydrate-blocking effects of mulberry leaf tea seem more relevant to your specific challenges. Cinnamon tea might appeal to you if you're looking for something that tastes familiar and comforting,